Hello everybody and welcome back to another action-packed Ogre cast. This is a 3v3 between Ogre, KillerB, and Shadowsbane. Yep, just a random 3v3 game against three random enemies. Sultanico is going to be the red Zerg on our enemy's side. Nerdzeal is going to be the teal Terran, and Rudiger is going to be the blue Terran. I don't know why, but I really like that name, Rudiger. I think it's fun to say. Rudiger. Rudiger? Anyway, yeah, enough of that. Sorry about that, guys. So it looks like Shadowsbane wants to go Mortals Colossi, and KillerB. I'm not sure what he's going to do. Yep, looks like he's going Metalisks. This is a really good map, actually, for air, just because you can go up over these chasms in the middle. Whereas if you want to go around this back door, these rocks are super annoying. If somebody breaks them down, you always have to watch and make sure nobody's breaking through your backdoor rocks. I know back in the early days of StarCraft 2 I got caught so many times when people unexpectedly came through those backdoor rocks. So it looks like KillerB is going to wisely put an Overlord here to watch the backdoor rocks in case anybody wants to come by and surprise us. Pretty high APM actually for this red Zerg. He's getting a Spinecrawler up at his base just in case there's going to be some kind of harass. Sending an Overlord out here. He's got an Overlord going over by these expansions here, I guess, just to keep a watch on, see if anybody decides to take them. I think a couple of us play random. KillerB and myself play random. I think Shadowsbane picked Protoss here. This is, well, he's usually Protoss, so I'm fairly sure it was Protoss random, so they need to do a little bit of scouting, just to see what's going on. He's looking for that Sultanico is looking for a fast expansion, I think. Actually, that's a really good tactic to run a Zergling up to the watchtower just to get a little bit of extra information. Anyway, yeah, I was tasked with a wall off here and then find out that there's a bunch of Marines and Marauders for the Terran. I don't know, these guys, at least one of these guys was playing as random as well, so didn't quite know that I was up against two Terrans when I started the wall off, and now just you can see in the commentary there that I'm a little bit dismayed that I can't wall off the Terrans, but that's alright. Looks like Sultanico is doing pretty good. He's got an expansion up, which as any good Zerg knows, you need that early expand for the extra larvae and things like that. Looks like there's a fairly large force of speedlings coming out for KillerB, looking to do a bit of scouting / harassment. I guess we can follow these Zerglings and just take a look and see what they see. There's no expansion up there, so not sure if that's going to be too much information. Just takes one hit from a Spinecrawler, one hit from a Roach, and these Zerglings are going straight for the back of Rudiger's base, and we'll just take a look and see how much. Oh, that is a lot of Zerglings though for these SCVs to fight off. One trick is if you've got a bunch of SCVs and half of them can't attack the Zerglings, if you can slice off the back row of SCVs and hit them to auto repair, definitely give you a lot more damage done against those Zerglings. So just something to remember. It's really hard to do in the heat of the moment, obviously, because you're hoping all of your SCVs are going to be able to attack. But looks like KillerB is actually running out, feigning a retreat, and then comes back in to polish off these SCVs. Let's take a look at the unit tab, and Rudiger is down to 6 SCVs, which is going to put him way behind in the economy. Taking a look at the income tab, he has dropped to 160. He doesn't. Oh, he just got his orbital command up, so going to do a decent job of muling up, I guess. Well, he hasn't used this mule. There is 115 energy saved up on the orbital command, so he should send a couple of mules down there. So a little bit behind there. Sultanico Yeah, he hasn't really saturated that second base there. Taking a look back down here, this is our main force. Looks like I'm getting a bit antsy, hoping to move out or something soon. It's 9 minutes into the game, have a decent sized force and a really good harass by KillerB. So we've basically scouted out what they had. Not going to meet too many surprises. So it looks like a baneling nest up for KillerB, courtesy of all the Marines and stuff that we scouted. I have my Nexus up, but have not done a probe transfer quite yet. That should be coming pretty soon. Yep, there it is. So I like to send a good amount of probes to the expo. Well, looks like Shadowsbane's got that observer out. I like to send a good amount of probes to the expo so that I can re-probe up with both Nexus. So you split basically half of your probes over here, even if it does cause your main to not be saturated. Looks like KillerB has spotted a dropship coming in here, and he is not going to cancel this hatchery. We'll just have to see if it goes down. Meanwhile, he's got Mutalisks in the base doing a huge harass on Sultanico, but it looks like this drop is going to be able to take this down if we can't reinforce it fast enough. Looks like KillerB, or looks like Shadowsbane is going back, but it's not going to be in time, and so KillerB's hatchery goes down. If the Mutas can catch up to that medevac, though, it is going to be at least 300 minerals worth. Looks like 4 Marines, 1 Marauder, so more than 300 minerals and 100 gas. So 425? I'm not sure. My math is a little bit off. 475, I think, and 100 gas. So the trade-off was 1 hatchery for a medevac filled with units, and that's actually a good trade-off, except for the fact that it puts them behind. Oh, I hear a Nidus Worm, and it looks like it is right up here in our expansions. That is a lot of roaches coming out, and well, it looks like KillerB was hoping to re-expand, but that drone is going to go down. I send up 4 stalkers looking to see if I can find that Nidus Worm, but it is going to take a good part of my army to just fend off these roaches. Looks like he's retreating back to the Nidus, knows he cannot take that many units, and this Nidus Worm is going to go down. That is going to be 100 minerals and 100 gas when that goes down that he lost, but he got some roaches into the base, caused a little bit of a scare. Zergs just like to do that with Nidus Worms. Now it keeps us on our toes. We have to keep looking. Shadowsbane has some cannons at the back of his base to fend off any kind of drops. Good cannon placement. I have not set my rally point for this Nexus, so I have a couple probes sitting there doing nothing. I have a simulator up with no probes actually mining it, so looks like in my macro I'm not doing too well. And KillerB is doing a really good job of keeping these mutas active, flying back there, picking off overlords. Let's just see, yeah, supply blocking our red Zerg Sultanico, and looks like a large force moving out from myself and Shadowsbane, so hopefully we're going to be able to do a significant amount of damage at the front. Muta's going to the back for KillerB, and let's in the production tab, what do we have? We have another Nidus Worm up in production for Sultanico. Let's just keep an eye out for where that goes. Yeah, it's going up to the expansion. Sultanico, unfortunately, losing this one, but he's going to gain another one over on that island there. We'll take a look, and looks like these mutas are being fended off only by 2 Vikings. Those mutas could swoop in and take those out real easy. Down goes the expansion for Sultanico, but a huge army here. A lot of roaches coming in, though. A lot of Marines, a lot of Marauders. Looking at the army tab, we are going to see who's going to come out ahead. That Colossus, if it doesn't have the range upgrade, it does have Thermal Lance, so oh, that's just, never mind. It does not have the range upgrade, so it can't stand too far back. In the production tab, we have extended Thermal Lance, still just a little bit away. Colossus made it all the way to the end of the battle, though. Could have done slightly more damage, but the Thermal Lance didn't actually cause too much of an issue. in that point. The Mutas, though, taking out Nerdzeal's SCV line hugely. So while the entire army was forced to the front of the base to fend off Ogre and Shadowsbane, the Mutas did a huge amount of economic damage in the back of Teal's base. So looking at the income tab here, we have 1,200 for Sultanico, and his two partners are down to nearly nothing. And the rest of us, looks like KillerB is low on production. Not sure what happened there, but he must have been dropped or something like that. And now the Mutas just spotting that hatchery going up on the expansion island. I have sent some troops standing over to this expansion for no apparent reason. The Mutas here gonna take out the Nidus Worm first, which is a good idea. No reinforcements can come. He's waiting actually for this hatchery, I think. But another Nidus Worm here in the back of our expansions, sending a queen out and a bunch of roaches. Gonna take this out. I have to run my probes away and hopefully not lose that nexus. I did warp in a few units to frighten these off. Would really like to pick off that creep tumor, but unfortunately it's down now, and I don't have an observer. I did not build a robotics bay at this point, so that creep tumor is just gonna sit there. A bunch of KillerB Zerglings kind of just standing there in support. Taking a look at the army tab, the biggest army actually still belongs to our Red Zerg Sultanico, and he has got a couple burrowed roaches right here in my expansion, which is going to be a little bit annoying. He can scout when I send my probes back. Hugely oversaturated here at my main. Putting up a Dark Shrine myself and taking a look at... looks like Sultanico is still losing overlords. But yeah, in the production tab, what do we have? Anything interesting? Combat shield for Rudiger. He is way behind. That should have been researched long before now. But we do have Marines here shooing away that Overlord. Doesn't quite kill it, but if they drop any Marines on this side, it looks like it's going to go down, and down it goes. Still nothing being produced by Rudiger. If we take a look at the income tab, he is at 320 for income. So I've got Psionic Storm and Dark Shrine. So some interesting stuff coming up for me, but just more Mutalisks, some Zerg Flyer